He's training me over here.
All right.
Girl talks turned into girl talk.
I know. You sound like he fit right in, Shep.
I got a lot of sisters. I can't help it.
Shep got his herded.
Herded.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Like I said from before, here with the lovely Amira. So we're going to get into some more interesting things about her and what she does. Also here with Allison and Sheb.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the things that we can kind of go into is performances, some information for people. Like, we'll just go down the line. Amira, what's the best performance you've seen from an artist? Like
Honestly,
a live show or whatever, I guess.
I would have to say...
Besides Michael Jackson.
Okay, yes. I will have to say Lady Gaga.
Oh, I am so jealous.
Were you going to say Lady Gaga?
No, I've never seen her. I'm in love with her.
Really?
Yes.
Really? I think it's because of her showmanship. Even though I sing a different type of genre than her, I just appreciate, like, the show that she can put on.
Egg.
Yeah, and like how long she can go for. Like, she gives a full-fledged, detailed show without stopping, and I admire that.
Respect. How about you, Allison?
I was actually thinking about it. I've seen my favorite artist, which was B.B. King, and he was great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's awesome. At the end of his show, he'll like take his jewelry off and throw it into the audience, which is just weird but hilarious. But I think the most fun I had at a show was at the Richmond Folk Festival, and it was this band called Lance Lipinski. He's the main guy, and they were like a rockabilly band. And I mean, this guy was like Jerry Lee Lewis, like standing up, playing with his feet. Like,
wow.
Nice.
Now I'm jealous, Allison.
I just danced my ass off. It was so much fun, and like the whole crowd was just in love with him. And they had never played in Richmond before, and they were so good. And now I follow them on Facebook and
cool.
all this other stuff.
Did you do old school dances like the jerk and the monkey?
That's what made it so fun, because you're like twisted and like everyone's just like all of a sudden we're in the 50s, and it was just awesome.
How about you, Sheb?
Well,
Chief Keef?
Chief Keef.
No, but mine was definitely
Sosa.
Definitely. Skrillex. It was a great show. I can't even deny it. It was very good.
Featuring Chief Keef?
There was a spaceship on stage, which I'm the hugest fan of sci-fi. So the fact that there's a spaceship on the stage blew my mind. And then as he's playing and these lights are going off and shooting into the audience, the smoke bellows out, and then the ship sort of sits up in the air and like shoots lasers out into the audience. And then you have like these videos that are playing on the side of the panels of the stage. And they're colorful, and they're like robots moving and dancing, and then it's like mixed in with like just random things you would find naturally, like on the internet on there. So it's like, it gives you the feeling of like you're on the internet, but your mind is being blown because you're in space with Skrillex, who's playing this wild, outlandish.
That sounds like any guy's dream.
Music. I loved it. It was the greatest. It was the greatest physical show that I was at, and I saw, and I was like, wow. That's a good show.
Lies, you actually like Chief Keef. But
so what about you?
Me, one of the coolest shows was the one where I saw Big Pun and Busta Rhymes and Montel Jordan. But I think the show that stood out the most to me, the show that was most influential was seeing Matchbook Romance when they came to Richmond and played at Alley Cats, just because they're one of my favorite bands of all time. Now, I think the overall most, like, I guess, mesmerizing show is Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes.
Who doesn't love them?
I've seen them twice already. Awesome. Them, and then with, they perform with Larry Graham in Grand Central Station. Nice. So, yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire, like, they're just... I like their light show, and the fact that there's so many people on the stage, too, just jamming out, just and doing all that stuff, and then the singer, he's hitting all kind of crazy notes, and
it's like feel good music.
Yeah, and then just it's timeless. Like, I can see why to this day, like anywhere they go, it's still like it's packed. It is packed at any Earth, Wind & Fire show you go to. And it's just, they put on a great show. It's definitely fun.
That was definitely real music that they played.
Indeed. They got so many people in that group, too. Yeah, and I think one of the members' sons is actually in the group now or something. He went to Berkeley and now plays with Earth, Wind & Fire, like the group. So, yeah, no, they're amazing.
So is it all the same members in Earth, Wind & Fire, or is it different people?
There's got to be some of them that aren't still in it.
Yeah, well, I guess they kind of changed stuff up. Because, like, now I forgot whose son it was, is now in the group. So, either he took someone's place
Somebody
or...
had to retire.
Yeah, or someone couldn't make it. But, yeah, so I think that was interesting. Because now just coming to stuff around here, I know from before we kind of... I mentioned stuff about the hip-hop shows. And sometimes those can be when you got, like, 50 people on stage and it's a mess. It's a mess, especially when you have a whole bunch of people just yelling at you. You don't know what's going on.
Have you seen any particular hip-hop shows?
Well, one of the ones I went to at Kingdom had my boy Hero, which he did great. He killed it. I feel like he was like the best one there. And it had who else? Octavian Excellence.
I've seen him.
Yeah,
he's good.
He performed, and then there was like a few other cats on there. So, but I mean, they did pretty well. But there's been some that just like, what are you doing? Like, don't think about what you're doing before you go out there. But and that's another thing too, because there's not enough solo performers. Like, I know you're a solo performer.
I am.
I am as well. So you're lucky you have a band.
Yeah. It's hard to pull off solo. You gotta be good at it.
And that's the thing too, because it's like, or at least for us, like lights help. Coming all late, just ruining everything. Sit down. Gonna cut off your mic. Shove squeaking doors. But it's important. Like, I feel like lights are important. That's why one thing I know when I perform, like, I only perform at certain venues. Like,
really?
I will not perform at a venue that doesn't have some type of nice lighting. Like, I'm debating if I should ever go back to Kingdom because it wasn't enough. And I was disappointed in the Hat Factory when I performed there because they didn't do a light show for me, for real. And I felt like I needed that because it's like, it's just me up there on this huge stage.
I think it's very important to have a good sound system, especially for a solo artist, because if they can't hear you and you sound like crap.
Exactly.
It's important for a band too, because you gotta hear each other,
right? And
the audience has to hear everybody equally. That's something we struggled with in the beginning. But yeah, you're right. Buying the right equipment is key.
Indeed. So, I mean, and then one thing is, all right, let's bring up American Idol and their performances. And I feel like something people should take away as artists is, once the season ones that have been in there for a while, just like all the choreography that goes on and so forth, I feel like people can kind of learn from that. But at least on a minor scale, if you don't have that type of production money, like, at least try to do something. Like, it just once again, it just breaks my heart seeing rock bands, heavy rock groups that just stand on stage.
Right, because you're not singing karaoke, right? You know, like, you're performing. You're not just...
I guess that's why you need to practice, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That too, but that's another thing, because a lot of people, they don't practice in front of a mirror. Like, that's why it doesn't have to be a mirror. It could be a video camera, still good videotape, something. Do something that can actually, you can visually look back and see what you're doing within the practice. Because that's why someone like Michael Jackson got so good, and, you know, like James Brown and Prince, they went in front of a mirror and they practiced those dance moves as they perform their song as it's going. And, like, that was one thing, because Michael Jackson, you play a song in, like, I guess almost like a ballet studio or something like that, had the mirror, and then he would just practice as he sang see what people need, something to record themselves. Like, go just get a cheap camera. It's like they have
Set your iPhone on video.
Exactly. So, but people don't.
I feel like every artist has an artist before them that they look up to, that that they watch, that they study, and that's for me too. Like sometimes I'll watch shows on TV or online and just kind of see what they do to the crowd, or like how they interact with the crowd, because it helps. Because if you really haven't done it a lot and you don't have a lot of experience, you probably think like, okay, what am I going to say, or how am I going to act when I get on stage? But so just watching other artists and seeing how they interact with the crowd kind of helps.
I guess that's a good thing that can come out of American Idol then, because their whole thing is to get the crowd involved, because they're going to be voting later, right?
Exactly.
So I mean, that's something positive that comes out of that show is you can kind of see how just a regular person, not a seasoned star, interacts with a crowd.
Yeah. And then kind of grows from that. Because when they first start off, it's like they're not as great as they end as far as interacting with the crowd.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing with American Idol, though, I feel like it started off one way with a certain reputation, and kind of like now it's gone downhill from.
Yeah, it got goofy. Mainly, it's the fault of judges or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Nicki Minaj shouldn't be judging anyone on singing ability. Like,
Exactly.
Agreed.
don't even sing. Just make weird noises.
Yeah. Just blah, 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 blah. That's Nicki Minaj right there. Oh,
And the whole cattiness between her and
Mariah Carey.
Mariah
Yeah,
Carey. It's just.
Look, I got a bone.
Yeah.
Leave Mariah Carey alone, Nicki
Yeah.
Minaj. You are
Can you
not
sing
at that
in your
level.
whistle register? No.
Exactly. It's like, it doesn't matter if she felt like Mariah was, dominating or something like that, dominating personality. Well, she has that right. She has Grammys and she's performed with all sorts of people, from like Prince and Michael Jackson. Nicki Minaj, what have you done?
No, I feel like I seriously felt like they sat down before the show one day and said, this is what we're going to do for ratings.
Yeah.
Bingo.
And we're going to play up this cattiness between the two women, because it'll get people will want to watch to see what will happen between them. And so then it's not about the singers anymore.
Yeah.
And see, this is something that's funny, just speaking on Nicki Minaj. Like, as soon as she came up through rap. And then all of a sudden, like, she suddenly crossed over and tried to do pop,
yeah.
and it was just like, oh, what are you doing? Stop doing it. That's how I felt. I'm sure a lot of other people did too, because like she should have stayed in her lane. That's not really her lane. Now, the great thing about what happened with American Idol and her, now she's not going to be on the show. So I guess
because
she's just either way.
Nicki Minaj, she's not going to be on the show anymore.
Yeah.
Randy Jackson's leaving it too. That show's going to end, I think, pretty soon.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, 'cause it's a
it really
joke
needs
now.
to.
Yeah.
They're not even concentrating on the actual talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you have shows like The Voice, which the talent is just so much better. I mean, there's someone on there that sang with Michael Jackson right now.
Wow.
There's the guy that won last season, I think, sang backup for Alicia Keys, because The Voice has a higher standard to get on there.
Right.
And they
Yeah.
don't, to be chosen for the show, the judges don't even see what you look like. So it's got this like, it's like what American Idol should have been, about the music, about the voices, about finding these people that just can't quite get past that barrier.
Right.
But American Idol is like just so commercialized and so silly and
Yeah.
so cosmetic.
Well, now and just going back to Nicki Minaj on that, she's not going to be on it. And it's funny, since then, she has gone back to doing hip hop. And they gave her best hip rap artist award at Billboard. I think that's funny. They're trying
What's
to
Billboard doing?
I don't. Well, this is why I feel they did it.
doing?
This is why I feel.
They're not asking the people, clearly.
Well, this is why I feel they did, because I
corporations.
don't think they want her in pop, because her pop songs are horrible.
Yeah, but they
And then-
sold a lot of money.
But her
They
CDs
sold-
were not selling as well as like her first ones
Right.
were.
This is like, what do you consider selling a lot of money? Because think about what she owes with record companies, and she probably has a 360 deal.
What?
Yeah, a 360 deal is usually a record company takes half of everything. So anything you do under that company, they take half. But sometimes, usually when it comes to record sales, they end up taking more. So It probably her records probably did sell a lot, she
she
probably made more
the
money off
most
of
with
singles.
The pop music.
She probably made more off
Yeah.
of singles.
I
Well,
think
yeah.
she decided to go back or try to go back to her roots. Maybe.
Because people want to see a real person.
Yeah, pop.
know.
It's
Not
like,
Roman.
and she's gonna, yeah, she's gonna act like all of the hood and stuff, and then just the way that she's trying to personify, like her as a person doesn't fit in with like the whole turnaround, the 180 in the pop. Like there's just, it's like that's not her. Like I feel like that's her being fake. So, but I don't know. Hip hop's her lane, I feel, and she should continue to go down hip hop and not make pop music. I don't know who bought her stuff. For real. I don't know anyone.
Kids.
That's probably it. Then.
Or just
Parents.
eventually the candle is going to go out, and then she's not going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want Missy Elliott to come back.
Yes.
And I heard
Why? Where is she?
she
What is she doing?
she appeared on whose
She was
song
on Sierra's
was it?
song. I mean,
the recent is
yeah, there was a
one?
recent one when she was on it.
Okay. Yeah, that one, because I was like, yeah, Missy just killing it. I was at all female MC. She's been my favorite. So, but yeah, no, I think, and the great thing about her, this is why people don't like Nicki Minaj. Like, if she ever hears this, then maybe she might understand why people are hating on her. And it's not for the fact that she's dressing up and looking all goofy and stuff, but she's
Yeah,
just
because Gaga does that.
yeah,
Yeah,
but she's not humble at all. She's just
Yeah.
not. She just feels like she's the shit. Like you just came up in this music game for real, and trying to tell legends like
Right,
who are you? Like,
I just don't
for
feel
real?
like it's real. I just feel like
Yeah.
It's not.
It's
Yeah.
a bunch of horse mess.
Back to the whole Missy Elliott thing. Wasn't she like trying to put other artists out there and on the map at some one point? I know she
Yeah.
had Jasmine Sullivan, which is like a
And Lisa
great
Ray.
artist.
Oh yeah, she
has like
She's
amazing vocals. Like I don't know, maybe she was geared more toward like putting other artists out there.
I didn't realize that was Missy Elliott's
Really? Yeah.
protege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
her
heard that.
and Timberland do work like that. It's just it's
Virginia.
great. Yeah,
They're
VA.
both from there, so-
VA.
Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, I don't know. I miss Missy Elliott. It's great. I liked her when she appeared on J. Cole's song too. So
Yeah.
she was singing. I was like, yeah, Missy, you
Go for it.
murking it. So
I don't know. The funny thing is, like, sometimes they put artists out there, but they don't really do that well. Like, what was that show called? Making the Band.
oh yeah.
And like,
Wait, so before it was P Diddy's, right? It was like I guess it was whatever network it was on, and they put out O Town. Do you guys remember?
I remember.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Man,
miss them.
making the band. No, speaking of that, I was watching the Underground, the
They had a
URL
show,
freestyle
weren't they
battles.
like at home and stuff like that, and on a tour?
Baby.
They had,
that was-
there was like a whole show about that.
yeah, like after they made the band,
Yeah.
and then everyone was like, "Wait, we don't care anymore."
so my question is like, why don't you ever see these people after the
No,
show?
I've seen Ines, the dude Ines, because I watch the URL battles.
Oh my god.
And it's so
That
funny.
doesn't count.
It's so because they had him face a dude, Iron Solomon. Iron Solomon killed him, and then they had this dude with a list of DNA. Like DNA was kind of weak or whatever, and he has a list. But it was so funny because the crowd just hates Ines. Like after the making the band stuff.
Yeah.
So even when the dude DNA just said some really whack line, the crowd was like, "Oh!" It was hilarious. But I kind of felt bad. But Ines, he was kind of ass anyway. Just like his personality. But yeah, no, he tries to do the Underground battle stuff. So
he came out of making the band.
well, he started.
I didn't ever watch it.
He started in.
O-Town.
Yeah.
Really?
Something like that.
He started in the Underground battles, and then he came into making the band, and then he went back to that. Like he continued doing the battles and stuff.
But don't they sound like this ridiculous contract that no matter even if they were to do well or not, they would owe P Diddy for the rest of their lives?
Yeah.
They were set up to fail because whatever they did, it all went back to P. Diddy. And P. Diddy is known for writing contracts
but
just like that.
Here's the thing. This is where I gotta become businessman over artists because that's half of me. Like I understand P Diddy very well, and I understand Jay-Z and the moves that they made. People come down on him like making a band, yeah. Even if they did well and they put out a hit single, then what?
Nothing, because P. Diddy would get all the profits,
Yeah.
like you already set it up to.
Yeah, but
Which
here's
is why
the thing.
nobody should join P. Diddy.
This is how, because it's a loan. This is what people have to understand. Like, he gives you X amount of dollars. He gives you like $5 million or something.
Right, but
That
what about them
goes-
setting them up for failure?
You
though?
got
That's
publishers. If you're sampling, that's rights. If you have a producer, you got to pay them. Touring expenses.
It's a
If
doggy
they want
dog
to put out
industry. Such a doggy dog industry.
But that's what it is. That's why the whole thing is, like, you look at record labels, they're literally like a bank. That's all they are. They just
Yeah.
loan you the money now. So all this stuff, like clothing line supplies, if they want to open up another label by themselves, a brand, they get that money from them, etc., etc. Now, if they don't promote it right, and if they're not on top of their game, if they don't have a game plan to beat the competition, because all this stuff that's put together, the artists themselves are competing with thousands of other major artists. So if they don't have a way to be on top, then of course they're not going to make any money. So it's like, it's almost like this. When you start up a business, the first time you start up a business, it normally fails. Like, there's, I think it was like an 80% chance.
Well, yeah. it's
The
supposed to
second
fail for
time-
the first 2 years, and then you're supposed to make profit out.
Well, either that, but they usually say, like, when you start it up and then when you try it again and redo everything, then it ends up being successful. Like 90% chance of being successful. Now, the thing is, with the record industry, you have to look at the artists themselves as their own personal business. Now, a lot of them, there are a few that just have everything together that they need in order to make that revenue to where they pay back the record labels and then they're making their huge amount of profits. But like, if you're just kind of someone that's like, all right, like let's take Machine Gun Kelly on P. Diddy's label. Like, his only hit song was what is that?
I'm a wild boy.
Yeah, Wild Boy. So he had that. I mean, he has this clothing apparel. But other than that, it's like he didn't really have anything else. Like, if you're supposed to be the machine itself, you got to keep producing these hits.
So you're saying the artists that came out of making the band, or even artists on P. Diddy's label, weren't good enough? Like, they themselves weren't good enough to push forward.
Pretty
so
much.
then
Why
I don't
does
know
he
if
sign them?
I don't know if he's
That's-
a genius or an idiot then,
Because
because
he's a genius,
making
I guess.
all
He's making-
money.
yeah.
He's making money.
Well,
But-
this
It
is
doesn't
what
make
happens.
sense. It doesn't make sense. Why? Because I feel like why are you gonna give these kids who obviously come from rough backgrounds, Ness and all of them from that Making the Band series, and then give them hope and then take it away from
Yeah.
them?
But it's not that.
Like-
Here's the whole thing. This is exactly, I quote Jay-Z on this, and why.
Well, Jay's running actually a good.
No,
camp.
but he
So-
came under the same fire for the same thing. Like, that's why
But-
Jay and Diddy are close. Like, they know how to run this business. And the whole thing is, Jay said
No,
Beans
Jay's
is
better.
mad.
Yeah.
Jay's much better.
I think he's more savvy.
But
business
it
savvy
still
than-
comes along to, and Jay said this though, and he was like, yeah, he's like, Beans is mad because it's like, bruh, not only did I give you funding for a clothing line, and it was like I had a contract that you didn't want to sign. Not only your attitude and how you act, and you get in fights like the Making a Band people,
Right.
That's also gonna diminish because like it goes show business, it turns into show business,
Right.
And then on top of that, it's like, how many hits are you writing?
We're
Like-
talking about Benny Siegel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that applies across the board, though.
Right.
So that's the whole thing. So it's like you're giving all this stuff, and you're in the limelight. You have to emphasize off of that. So, like that's one thing. If I'm in the limelight, you have to treat it like, all right, if I'm here for a second, what can I do while I'm here to spread whatever I need to do? Whether it's a clothing line that even you don't have to put it directly under your name, but it could be like, you could be like an alias, just someone that's unknown, and get it out there and just use that power to push it,
But
to
Benny
have something to
Siegel
fall back
was
on.
washed up before Jay dropped him. So
But Jay dropped a whole bunch of people in
he
Def
did
Jam.
because they were unmarketable.
But
By
that's
that
the same
time, they
thing.
were
That's the same thing
unmarketable.
on P did with Bad
Well, see,
Boy.
that's different from bringing somebody in and being like, okay, we're gonna make something out of you.
Yeah.
And then having
But
a
it's
bunch
the
of
same-
old artists that you have after you've already.
But Beans
I'm
is
kinda-
the hottest dude in Philly, though.
I'm kind of
When
with
they
Shad
brought
on
him
that
It's
one.
Philly,
I'm
and it's
kinda with Shad
Beans.
on that
Nobody
one.
knows who Beans is. Do you know who Benny Siegel is?
No, I
Exactly.
don't.
What's
Nobody knows who Benny
Beans?
Siegel is. I know who he is only because I'm a fan of old hip hop.
Yeah.
But people of the newer generation don't know who Benny Siegel is. Even if
yeah.
you went out and just right now and start playing those drums and like, hey, I'm Benny Siegel, I'm playing these drums, you know, and then people wouldn't come out to see that. They wouldn't.
Yeah,
because
but-
it's Benny Siegel.
But that's the whole thing. He never produced his songs. Like that's
He
that's
didn't.
one thing too. But
was
look
also
at this.
underground artist.
Kanye's under with Jay. But
But
Kanye,
now let's talk about that. 'Cause-
all right, let's talk.
Now, Kanye already knew the industry because he had already been in it for several years before he became his own independent artist.
I mean, he was
So-
a Def
and he
Jam.
was-
Yeah, he was making beats.
Yes. So he knew how the industry ran. When he signed that contract to officially be in Rock Nation, he knew that he had to cut it in a way so that he would make money from it. Because he's already been in that industry. He's seen that side of it, right? That's why Kanye made so much money off of Rock Nation, and Jay-Z made money because of Kanye. So that, even though Kanye, when he started, he was 30 something. So technically,
He was too
he was
old.
supposed to be too old, but he knew how to market the thing in such a way that it would end up in his benefit.
All right, now
so
I'm
you
gonna
can't
have
get rid of Kanye.
I'm gonna have to school you. I'm gonna have to school
And then
They're
you.
really
put
good
Benny
friends.
Siegel in
Let
there.
Let me school you. Let's take Beans and
Don't put
Kanye's
Beans in there.
we're
Beans didn't produce.
I'm
and he was an
gonna-
underground rapper, and he
But
wanted
I'm
to stay
gonna
underground.
explain something to you.
Go ahead.
One thing is when you produce your own beats,
Right.
you get a certain percentage that comes back to you instead of for someone else.
Royalties.
But this is why I say it's no different because Beans had the access because Kanye was right there just working with Jay-Z.
Right.
So why didn't he grab Kanye's
Because
beats?
Beans is an old idiot.
They could have.
He's an old idiot. Yeah.
Well, that's my one point. And the other thing is too, it didn't really matter how old Kanye was and stuff. Like he'd been there doing that. And Beanie Siegel, he was old too. He was at
Yeah,
it,
but Benny Siegel was older than Kanye. But Kanye
Beans was given his own clothing line. He didn't promote it. Like
didn't do
he's supposed to be
nothing
in
with
charge
it.
of it. Exactly. Then you want people to drop. Like look at Diddy's label. Same thing. Like cats like G Dep and all them. Like they wouldn't. And I
They
mean,
were
Mace was
wonders.
hot when he came out, but then it was like
You guys are having like a full-fledged head-to-head right now.
testosterone. But like, all right.
Yeah.
So check out Mace. Mace was hot. He could have kept going with
and
it.
left at the peak of his game. What does that mean?
I guess he
What
just
does
got
that mean?
tired of the industry. He changed. He started going to church.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, and
was
then
like
he
a-
tried to get back into it. So that
No, he had to finish his
didn't
contract, right?
I don't know. He didn't.
No, he cut his contract short and just
Yeah,
was like,
so-
I'm out. I'm done.
But it's all like, here's the whole thing too. It's like on Diddy's side, on Jay's side,
I can't
like
agree with Diddy.
they put these people in the spotlight
Right.
to give them that chance.
Right.
That's that opportunity they have for the world to see you.
I
It's
don't
like
know.
either you have to have your act together or you gonna fall off.
I just-
Unless you, and that's another thing because Kanye, he continued to make good songs once he dropped his first record. Now you Beans making a band, people.
Beans didn't put out nothing. He put out nothing. Then he put out an album. I think it was like late.
So you
last
agree with me
year.
basically
What do you mean?
that Diddy made the right decision.
Did he make the right
The
decision
the drop, yeah,
to drop who?
the drop several artists.
No,
'Cause he
the
said don't
thing
sign
is,
with Diddy, but
Diddy's
Diddy,
like, come on, guys, you'll be popular with me.
Yeah.
and they
Make me
are
some money.
popular.
Now you're out of here. But see, that's the thing.
He don't do it like that.
He
They
doesn't
vote
like
on
that.
himself. You even saw making the band how often they were fighting.
I know, but that's what gave it ratings. That's what made people. Well, I watch it.
Okay,
Several
guys,
people
I
watch it.
kind of feel like that's not true with the whole P. Diddy thing. I feel like in today's industry, you can take a suck
Diddy for
artist
life.
and make them famous, even if
Yeah.
they suck.
That's true.
Because there are a bunch of artists who sound like crap. Like
Yeah,
we
but-
listen to every single day and they can't sing a lick. But because people want them to be famous and they're, popular, they put them out there. That's the
They
thing
get
with
their
P. Diddy.
image.
He never intended for them to be famous.
But they still, but that is
True.
fame though.
It's like your 15 minutes of fame.
Is it?
Yeah.
True. I mean, it's like, okay, it's almost like reality people, but they were on a reality show, or at least with making the band. But some of the other artists that were on there, it's like they're not producing hits, and like that's the product. That is the core of being on the
best thing
record.
that came out of that show was what's the 5
5 greatest rappers of all time. Dial on,
That was the best thing that came out of that show.
Yeah,
Nothing else.
You guys watch Chappelle's show?
Sometimes.
I used to.
If you on Netflix and you can find Dave Chappelle's parody of Making the Band, it is hilarious.
It is hilarious. So look at that breast milk joke which was the greatest joke of all time.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna need you guys to go down to the store and get some Cambodian breast milk. They're like, what? And then like his bodyguards, like he's on a couch, so his bodyguards come, lift up the couch, and just take Diddy away.
He does always send them on like stupid errands.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember they
Need y'all
said
get a birthday
them
cake
to
for
walk
me.
from Brooklyn to like Manhattan to pick up a cheesecake in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But here's
What?
another thing. This is why Diddy's a genius. This is why he's a good businessman. Because
He's selfish.
he sees, he's like, all right, they're out of line. Yeah, it's reality, but he was trying to form them by saying, hey, discipline, you guys need to do the little things that count.
Like getting a cheesecake in the middle of the day?
Well, the whole thing is,
That
but
totally
here's the thing,
counts.
but sending them together, it's like y'all need to do stuff together so you
still
guys can
dropped
create
them.
chemistry together.
Maybe they should have just carried cinder blocks across the yard.
They should. Maybe Diddy was trying to do his own cinder block spin.
That would have been a better lesson.
Exactly.
And when was the last time P. Diddy put out a song that was good? Anyway,
Exactly. Exactly.
He doesn't
That's
need
what I'm
to.
saying.
He
Jay-Z
doesn't
has
need
put
to.
together a better structure
I
than
agree.
P. Diddy.
No,
Better
because
structure.
look, for one, when it comes to actually, I
the
think
two of them-
Diddy makes more money than Jay.
But
Oh, no way.
But of the two
Yeah, he
of
does,
them,
he does.
which one gets to hang out with Obama?
Jay.
That's true. That's because Diddy
Gets invited to the
still
White House.
Diddy still has like a bad attitude, and it's like he still does. He's a bit better now from what I'm just seeing over time. But here's the thing with Diddy, he doesn't have to. This is how genius he is because
he's thinking about the money aspect.
He's
of
like
it.
a
Exactly.
hustler, though.
A hustler.
But he's-
That's what he
But
is. He's just money. It doesn't matter how he gets it.
But Jay's the same way. DMX said that about Jay-Z.
I don't.
DMX said the same thing about Jay. He's like that. All he cares about it.
He may be, but at least they're putting out songs.
But here's the thing.
I
Like,
just feel like his artist.
Diddy was never supposed to be an artist in the first place. He just kind of only reason he jumped into that is because
So
Big
he's like Kirk
was like, "Hey
Franklin?
man, come and
he's not a real artist.
come
But
and
it's like,
rap or whatever." Yeah, he's really not. He's really not. Like his main thing was being a manager. Like that was his whole thing from the get go. Now Jay-Z, he is an actual artist. So he came in. He's like, "I want to do music, but I'm also a businessman." So don't expect Diddy to really drop anything because that's not really what he does. That was never his origin. Like he never, like when you watch the documentary on Notorious B.I.G. and everything, it was like Diddy was like, yeah, I never really thought of getting into rap until Big was like, yo man, just try and spit something, and he put him on the track. Bad boy, baby. So I don't know. People need to stop hating on Diddy. I like Diddy.
I feel like we're talking about all the bad artists. What about the good ones?
The good one?
Kanye. Enough said. All right.
He's good, but no
I
one.
love that guy.
If he wasn't such a jerk.
Exactly. My
But I
mom
like
does
him.
not
I
like
can't-
Kanye.
I can't-
He puts out good music. He
Yeah.
does. But man, they make fun of him on South Park for not being able to take a joke. And
The
he
fist
he
sticks?
gets all sassy on his next song. I'm like, they're just proving their point. You can't take a joke.
Exactly.
I don't know. Kanye's he's a strange one.
I like him. He's my favorite.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. His new songs, I don't really care for him.
Diddy don't have no artists, man. Who does he have?
He don't
had
need-
Danny Kane.
Man, you know
Guess
what
what? They're dead.
I was trying to remember their names.
Yeah, Danny Kane's dead. All of
Who
them.
do
I
you-
remember they used to have this one group that I used to like. I was like the
311 or-
only dude that liked this group. It was called Dream, and it was these 4 little white girls, and they could sing their little ass off.
I think
But-
I remember that.
Yeah, they had this real cute song about them like talking on the phone with their boyfriend or something silly like that. But it was a good ass song.
And what
I
happened
was
to
like,
him?
Do you
they
remember
couldn't
Dream?
make any more.
No.
They couldn't even make any more.
They made that one album. Diddy dropped them. They were gone.
because they couldn't make anything.
Yeah, but they made money off that single. That single was huge for them.
Yeah.
But even though
But
nobody
that's
else
what
heard
you
it,
have
but
They
to
probably didn't
be
even
able to-
see any of that money.
probably not, because Diddy will pick them up and throw them away. He'll make his money and be
they
like,
don't.
"You're
They
gone."
make. I feel like he finds artists that have the potential to do it, but then
uses them.
how long? Who
exploits.
is the group that was? Is it
He don't have
311 that does Peaches and Cream? They're on there for a while. Faith.
The hell is Peaches and Cream?
You
Peaches
know
and
you don't remember-
cream.
I don't know what that is.
You don't remember
I remember the
Peaches?
words. I remember
Thank you.
that
I
song.
mean,
That's a good song.
I'm disappointed.
Isn't that 112?
I think
It's
you're
a number.
112. Yeah, it's one of them.
311's like a rock band.
Yeah, so it's 112. It's one, I knew a song I got it mixed up, but yeah, no, they were on there for a while, and then I mean, you look at like Faith.
But you
Evans and
cannot
stuff,
compare Faith because she started out with it. She was with them from the beginning.
Yeah,
it's
true.
not like
Yeah.
but they were. She was still under Diddy though. Like that's the thing.
They're
Yeah,
like a
but
family,
Big brought
though,
her
like-
on though. Big brought her on because that was his girl.
Yeah, he brought her on the
Yeah.
label, but Diddy was managing everyone.
Well, see, at that
That's the
time,
point.
he wasn't doing the trashy stuff he's doing now. At that time, he wasn't doing that because 112 did have a little longevity. But
Yeah.
after 112, everything went from you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out.
Oh, he was trying to find. But you think about at the time, a lot of artists are going in and out. I feel like that was one of the most competitive times in the music industry,
You got to
especially for hip hop.
now that you might be right on because people
Because
were
I am
like
right.
working.
I am. I know.
Shake their head.
But they were working towards a goal back then, working
That's
towards
true.
an
Artists
achievement.
were a lot more into it. There was
They
a
were
lot more
hungry
work
for
being
it,
done.
like-
Yeah, now it's just that's all. I don't think that's even Diddy's fault then, because like then
I think this guy wants to meet P. Diddy.
I do. It would be awesome if I could meet P Diddy. I'll just sit
Would you
down
let him
and
sign you? Take all your
Would
money
you let
and
him
push
sign
out?
you? Would you let him sign you?
actually I would. I would.
Oh
my God.
Wow.
But not until after I revise the contract. That's why you get a lawyer.
So you got to pull a Kanye, which is from Rock Nation.
That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get a lawyer.
You are supposed to
and
do
that's
that. If you're
another
a
thing
smart
too.
artist, yeah, you
Some
would do
people
that.
just go and they just sign stuff, and it's
Yeah.
just
True.
like
I want to be famous. Yay.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
and
they
then
get
that's
caught
the whole
up.
thing. Like I'm saying, like it doesn't matter which major label it is. Like you're basically getting a loan. Like whatever they give you up front, you got to pay that back.
Yeah. Because that's what Rick Ross had to do. Because P. Diddy came to him and pretty much told him, he was like, yeah, I want you to be the new Biggie Smalls. Rick Ross is like, no, I won't be the new Biggie Smalls. But what I will do is we could do some business. But I dictate the percentages. And that's why, I don't know if you noticed, but in a lot of Rick Ross's music videos, there's Ciroc just sitting around.
That's Diddy's biggest artist
'cause
right now is Ciroc.
Ross knows how to
Ciroc
market
and
his
everything.
stuff and write a good contract. Bang, bang.
Exactly. Yeah.
Bang bang.
No, but that's the whole reason why, like, I mean, I'm taking classes for music business because I figured, all right, this is the production side. My mom was like, why don't you take production? I was like, I'm gonna learn that on my own. I'm gonna take music business because everyone says like this is the craziest industry
It is
just in
horrible.
general.
Yeah.
So I want to know everything about it. So whether I'd go into it from just a straight business perspective of trying to promote something, or me as an artist, or whatever. Like,
I
wanna
don't
know
think
about
you'll
it.
survive without any type of business savvy because people will just use you up and
Yep,
spit you
spit
out.
you out.
Pretty much.
But I mean, that's like that for a lot of industries. I mean, for instance, like I sold cars. I just didn't like it, but it's the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're a car salesman or you're a customer. Like they will do whatever they can to rip off either or. So there, it's just like, I mean, you have even less say because it's like, oh, you need a job. Here's a job. All right, you're fired. I'm bringing my buddy in. You gotta go. So, but yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, artists definitely should educate themselves, and anyone, like, especially with the access of the internet, like, there's just there's no reason not to know about the history of the industry as a whole, and just learning a lot of like details about it. It's out there.
if you don't know, you should surely ask someone.
Or exactly, or watch just so many interviews of artists or like that are like, oh man, this is why I don't like the industry, blah blah blah. I mean, even though they may not admit their faults or whatever, But all right, well,
That's right.
whatever
Yes.
you're doing, we're showing trinkets and stuff. But yeah, even if artists are talking bad about the industry and they're not admitting their faults to stuff that they may not have done, but they're still giving insight on it. So it's important. Look at interviews.
I mean, I know
Real
with the whole, you educate yourself and learn, but I still feel like every artist goes through something that they get bit in the, I can't say the A word, can I?
You can.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can.
Go ahead.
They get
Apple.
bit in the ass.
No,
and then
oh my
apple.
God! No.
They get bit in the apples, and then they learn. You know, it's like an experience thing. You know, you have to
That's
go
true.
through it in order to know what to avoid next time.
True.
you know?
True.
And then
Speaking from personal experience.
Me
that
too.
is true. That is true. I don't know if you guys want to elaborate on that because that's.
Oh no,
We
Jesus
should-
Christ!
I
I
mean,
elaborated on a lot and got in trouble, so I can't say nothing. But
oh, how'd you?
Amir, don't say nothing. But we know.
We know. You
mutually
know what I
know.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
We've
happens.
been,
Because you start
used
out
and
with
abused.
this genuine, hunger for music, and then it's
well, that's the thing. Like that's why a lot of people, because me is just I knew from before. Just because the way my dad was, he was like. He would tell me about how a lot of artists back in the day got duped over stuff. Like as a kid, like I already knew that. So that was one thing. But a lot of people grow up and they don't know that. Like either that or their parents are that into music. So like I can tell from both of y'all's perspectives. Of course I know. And it's like someone approaches you and they're like, yeah, they're throwing glitter in the air. Look, it's
really glittery.
it's glittery. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Rain and magic.
And then they turn around and they just kind of they screw you out of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, great reason why we have this show. So we gotta let
Exactly.
people know.
That's right.
But yeah, so that's definitely the whole thing because artists, it's like now there really shouldn't be an excuse to like not have a business sense in music. There shouldn't be, but there always is, because that's just one thing. Being a musician, like you have to be a businessman,
Yeah.
and then or businesswoman. But
Unless
and,
it's a group of your friends and you're just having fun.
but that's true. But even when it comes down to like artists do business stuff in general,
Yeah.
like making the flyers
Yeah, it's true.
and booking shows, you got to talk to the venues.
Yeah, you do.
Even if you just have like a house party, like for the fact that you have to network and promote
Right.
and do stuff like that, and a lot of artists may not realize it. So, but I mean, it's also good that you guys learned early on
Try, yeah.
and broke away from it, because now it's like, you're an amazing singer. So I know firsthand playing the show with you. So and. Yeah, you're Sheb. but it's like now it's like, all right, you went through that and you had that it dipped down, but now you have much more opportunity because you realize your actual potential.
And you're
That's
much
true.
wiser now, so it's
Yeah.
like boop,
I'm like
full
human
circle.
again.
There you
Feels
go.
Exactly.
Great.
So
New
you
person.
got in, then
Yeah.
you got out, and now it's like you know what to do, you know what to look for, and so forth.
Yeah.
So
I'm like super scared of contracts now. Like I'm so scared of contracts. Like
always, that's why lawyers definitely.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
lawyer. So like I don't want to just give out his number, but if it ever comes down to it, I know for you, because I don't know if you're really making music for real now, but
I am.
Thank you.
he's just
You've
kind
heard a
of
song from me. I played you one of my
all
songs.
right. See, he's got
You
one.
don't
He's got
know.
a ways to go, and Allison too. Like if like I know Dave Matthews Band Lawyer, like he's in my phone, so like. That's what I'm saying. Y'all definitely come to me, and then people should go do the research. Go to a law firm and ask somebody. Just be like, hey, I'm trying to find an entertainment lawyer, and I'm curious to know about stuff. Like, they'll even be cool enough to where you can actually go and sit down and talk with them. They'll give you, they'll explain stuff. But I mean, of course, try to have a game plan when you come. Like, this is what I want to do, et cetera, et cetera. So how do I go about doing that? It helps. So. But yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, don't ever sign a contract without looking over it, because sometimes people try to slip stuff in. And here's the thing, like promoters, there's a whole bunch of janky promoters and janky managers around this area. That's why
That is the best thing you've said all day.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. If you guys want to, like, as big as Rich Musicians is, like, online, I still keep a tight-knit circle. Like, at the end of the day, like, I'd pick people that I know or that I've worked with or I felt I've seen, like, that have, like, good work habits and are good people. So that's just one thing. Like, it helps to be around people that you know that might be tied into something with that can give you a 411 on things that's like in it, or get that lawyer and just make sure, hey, don't put any crazy stuff in this contract. So
They're gonna put crazy stuff in there. You just gotta be able to spot it and be like, hey, get that out of here.
that's true. Well, I think the contract y'all had wasn't even a legit thing.
Yeah,
you probably just
because
pick it up.
I
just
had
like,
our
get
lawyer
this.
look it over, and it was very poorly put together. Very poorly put together.
Yeah,
And then also I know who wrote it, so it was like
some guy just writes.
some guy.
Your soul is mine. Sign here.
No big deal. Just don't read that part.
He's covering up with his hand.
totally
What's on your hand?
Just sign here.
Don't look at
Let me
that.
just hold the page down.
So yeah, that's the whole thing. Artists definitely have to watch out for that.
You live and you learn, huh?
Exactly, but it's always it's a good experience. It's a good experience. You know.
Same experience as when you're a child and you're getting older. You gotta get some bumps and bruises before you learn the correct path to go to.
Yeah, get some backbone in
Yeah.
you.
That's right.
Unless you just have that business swag like me.
Yeah.
Boss. Rose.
Really? We talked about this before the show.
All right, let's take a break and then we'll come back and we're gonna go over some things that Amir's doing, and well, actually, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually gonna wrap it up because we actually have been here for quite a while. Didn't realize, but real quick before everyone goes, how about let's do some plugs real quick. Okay. Amir, do you have anything coming up or any projects you're working on?
I do. I'm really excited because I'm actually about to do my first folk album ever.
Nice.
And it's all homegrown. And yay, woohoo! All
Positive
original.
originality.
And I have a lovely guy working with me. His name is Lee, and he's going to be doing some instrumentation on it. So
Cool.
Really excited. Haven't really come up with a name for it yet, but it's definitely in the works.
Okay, cool. That's certainly what's up. Allison, you got anything?
Yes, Alcyon Blue. We have two shows. The 7th and 8th, we're calling it the 06, 07, 08 experience.
Nice.
Yeah, we really like Justin Timberlake. And yeah, we the first one on the 7th is on the Rocks at 8, and then the next one is at Mediterranean Bistro at 9. And yeah, we've been working on some new songs, new covers.
Awesome.
Pretty good.
Awesome.
Very nice, very nice.
What? Yeah, y'all know what it is. Okay, go ahead.
All right, well that about wraps it up. Yes, next time we'll definitely we're gonna have to have you back, Amir, because this was great.
Yay! I loved it. It was so much fun.
So cool. All right, well everyone, good night and see y'all later.